Atlanta native and born and raised in Bayou City. I've also had 2 church homes, one being First Thessalonian Baptist Church on Simpson Street, which is now Boone Boulevard, but now I actually serve as trustee at Beulah Baptist Church, where the W.L. Cottrell just retired as he's Emeritus pastor. Now we have an interim Pastor Riggins Earl. So I serve as trustee there at the church, where we conduct the official business of the church.
All right. What I'd like to do is to acknowledge that our leader has come in, President of CBC, Reverend Carter. The next question is, what are the greatest needs and or unmet needs in District 2 as it relates to the children? I'm sorry, Ms. Amos.
The greatest need that we stand in right now is actually identifying where our children are academically. And we can tell, no matter it's from this cheating scandal, as they call it, or anything else, we have to be honest. Our school system lost the ability to educate our kids a long time ago. We have been teaching them to take tests. So the greatest needs is to just simply find out where we are academically, but most importantly, to ensure that we provide the services to meet our kids where they are and make them move forward, allow them to move forward. But then again, an unmet need is, what can the system do with the parents? What can we do for the parents? The system has created this culture of now allowing our parents to be involved in the educational system. We must once again create a welcoming educational system to not only our parents, but all of our caregivers and our stakeholders.
The greatest need is to be able to provide every child with a quality education. That means being able to graduate each child out of Atlanta public school system. And I think that the greatest unmet need right now is to make sure that as a board, as running for the board, is that we provide quality and strong leadership to our children through that position, by also being able to ensure that we hire the right superintendent, that we have some adequate oversight with budgetary and fiduciary responsibilities for the board, and also that we create the right kinds of policies that are going to protect our children so that we educate, and I have to agree with Mr. Amos on this whole question, that we educate not towards a test, but educate towards life.
I want to say that the greatest needs, unmet needs in District 2, whether it's children or adults, is economic prosperity. And poverty, as you know, is the biggest contributor to poor education, poor health, poor housing, and all of the high crime. Listen, if we fail to educate children, we're remanding them to a lifetime of incarceration and unemployment. And the greatest tool that we have in America to lift people out of poverty is our public education system. So we have to make it a priority to educate our children. Over 200 research studies say the same thing. It is a quality teacher that has the greatest impact on student achievement. So our focus has to be on academic achievement of our students. And the way we do that is by hiring and retaining and training the best quality teachers that $578 million can buy.
That's a hard question, but it has to be answered. And in the simplest form, we must prepare ourselves to meet the children's needs, true enough. We must pull together and continue the forum process and the communication process that leads us to what our children's needs are. Parenting, we've had enough people to go ahead of us. The doctors and the superintendents. We have a plan, y'all, that we can utilize. It's called night school education. We have 703 students in college, 703,000 students in college, 743,000 young males in prison. You're giving them no choice. We're giving them no choice. And we need to stop the push-out system, make something happen right now, today, and let our kids know that they're going to get what they need. These are children we're talking about. They can't make the decision for themselves.
And we're still on the 1 minute answer, and I appreciate the candidates following that you are. Would you support the Black Infusion, i.e. African American veterans contributors to African American history, added into the APS curriculum? And what concrete steps would you take to implement? I'm starting with Warren, Angela, Byron, and then
I absolutely do support Black Infusion. I'm going to tell y'all about me. When I was 11 years old, I decided I wanted to go to Howard University because it was the mecca in Black education. Lo and behold, I turned 17, my dream comes true, and I wind up at Howard University. Well, I had never seen that many Black people in one place before in my life. I was a little bit terrified. Black Infusion in my school would have helped me when I studied in Dr. Cornell's West class on African American Studies, because he came with all of these facts about what Black people had done that I had no idea about. I thought, surely you must be making this up. So Black Infusion, I think, is a very important and critical lesson that must be included in our education. And as you know, the Atlanta Public School Board is a governing body, and you need 5 or 6 votes to do anything. And I will negotiate for Black inclusion in the curriculum with my colleagues when I'm elected.
my elbow, what did I say? I had to look back to see who was that.
Can we get a towel? I'm sorry. Paper towel. Absolutely, I would support an African infusion in our curriculum. I think that, obviously, though, for me, as one who has been on the front lines working with independent schools and helping to transform school systems all over the South, that's been certainly one of those things that has helped in ending the miseducation of our children. So that's first and foremost. But I also think that on the question of an infusion in our curriculum, we need to be able to teach history, period, that's correct history. And if you did that, then obviously this whole question of having an African-centered curriculum would be a part of that, because you can't teach it without first knowing who we are and where history really begins. And so absolutely, I would support an African-centered curriculum and really teaching true history.
I think all candidates will have the same answer to this question, and definitely I will support it. I guess the better question would be, why hasn't it been done already? I think that's the real question. And what I would do to advocate it is to work with my other board members to make it a policy. We no longer would leave it to curriculum, but make it a policy that we not only infuse it, but make it a part of everyday life in the Atlanta public school system.
And I need to say ditto. We need to ask ourselves, why are we not supporting our Black heritage? We need to come together more often and show our children how important it is for their community to vie for a position that helps their educational process. We need our children focused at the concerned Black clergy. We need to bring them in and ask them questions and let them know that we have great leaders in our concerned Black clergy. We have great leaders in our community. And once they're involved with us, we need not add it to the curriculum because we've added it to their lifestyles.
Also, what we're going to do is we're going to, after this next 2 more questions, we're going to open it up to the audience. But also, when we open it up to the audience, we have 2 options. We have an option if you do not want to speak yourself, you can just write it on the cards, postcards, the 3x5s that's on your table. But also, we'll take your authentic voice. I'm a believer in the authentic voice of people being heard. So you can do the cards, but you also have the option to speak as well. The question that I'm going to ask is, listening to you as candidates, I see that you have a willingness to commit to education of the kids, but what I want to know is whether or not, what type of community outreach will you be doing in terms of our youth, as well as the conversation that has been added to here about the elimination of poverty. Because I do too believe that poverty is a variable, strong variable in terms of whether or not these kids get quality education. So what is your outreach approach, as well as what you think can be done as we go in our communities to eliminate poverty? I'm going to start, let's start with